Hello my gorgeous friends on the internet, it is your boy Emmanuel Webana and welcome to another video on the channel. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about branding on Etsy, especially as someone who sells digital prints on the platform. I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts on if branding is important or if it is necessary for you to experience success on Etsy as a platform. Now, what is branding? Branding essentially means representing your store in a particular consistent style or manner in terms of colors, in terms of assets, in terms of fonts, and general presentation that will be consistent and spread across your store. Now that makes your store easily recognizable by your audience or by buyers on the platform. Okay, so that is essentially what that means. And not people don't only brand businesses, they are individuals brand themselves. For instance, on this channel I could say every time I present myself I want to put on this hat, a black hat, or I want to always put on this oxblood t-shirts, such that even if you're scrolling on any platform outside of YouTube, if you just see someone with a hat, I'm the first thing that comes to your mind, or it kind of reminds you of who I am. Okay, so that's kind of what it means when we're talking about branding. So for print on demand, or let's say digital sellers on Etsy, is this important? Okay, so personally for me, in my experience, I brand my store, but I'm not too heavy on it. Okay, so what that means is, in my own case, all of my cover photos have a particular style for my digital prints. So I use a particular color as as a cover photo. You understand? That's what it means for my designs and listings. So now that's what I use personally. Now for you, you may not need it. I wouldn't say I cannot, there's no way of tracking the success of my sales or the success of my stores to the branding. There's no way I cannot do any correlation. Um, but I think I fell into just branding my store by accident, in the sense that I have a particular template that I always use whenever I want to put a new product. I just kind of just slap it on it. So that's kind of I just kind of branded my store while I was being lazy. You understand? Instead of creating a new template every time I want to list something on my store, I just have a particular template that I use. Okay, so but that has also gone on to help me brand my store, if you get what I'm talking about. So now I'm going to be giving you 3 points that determine if your store needs branding or not. Okay, so the first one is, it depends on what you sell. Not every product, not every service is brandable on Etsy. You understand? Depends on what you sell on Etsy. Yeah, I've seen people who sell beads. I've seen people who sell cakes on Etsy. I've seen people who sell a whole lot of handcrafted products. Now you cannot style every product. You cannot brand every product. Okay. So in the case of the person I was talking about, let's say for instance a bead. A bead is just a bead. Okay. So especially if you're someone who also sells multiple products or items in a particular store, it's gonna be a little bit difficult for you to brand everything, and trying to force everything to take one style or one shape in your store is gonna be very difficult. Okay, so not everybody can brand, or do I say not everybody can easily brand on their stores. Okay, now the second thing that is going to determine, the second factor that's going to determine if you're going to be branding or if branding is for you or not, is depends on your external audience. Now there are people who are successful outside of Etsy before creating a store on the platform. There are people who have successful stores, physical stores in their neighborhood or in their environment or in their city, and they're already known in a particular way or in a particular storefront, a particular color. Now if you already have an existing audience and you're coming in to Etsy, it's going to be very important for you to brand, because what that does is it protects your business, it protects your brand such that even if there are people on Etsy who want to copy or steal off your ideas, they cannot steal your brand easily. You understand? They cannot steal your brand easily. So if you're someone who has audience, let's say you're a musician and you want to sell your drawings or your t-shirts or whatever on Etsy, then I will recommend you brand your store so that it's gonna be easily recognizable and you can always talk about it outside of Etsy. You understand? So when you're bringing your audience inside of Etsy, they know exactly what to use or what to see to know that this is you, and they're not gonna be, mistaking your store for some other person. Okay, so if you're someone who already has an audience outside of Etsy and want to bring them to Etsy, then I recommend that you brand your store. Now, the final tip or the final factor that I will recommend for those who are thinking whether or not to brand their store is it depends on your vision and your prospects. Okay, so there are a lot of people who start out on Etsy, but they have vision and prospects of building their brand to something bigger than Etsy. So for such a person, it's also going to be very important for you to brand your store, brand whatever you're selling, such that you're going to be easily recognizable when you're being seen outside of Etsy too. Okay. Or if you want to move on to other platforms, so you want to do paid collaborations and stuff like that, it's gonna be very easy if you are creating a social media handle. I mean, it kind of makes sense such that the color you're using on Etsy matches the color in your social medias, Instagram, your Facebook, TikTok, and all of that. Okay, so if you're someone who has those prospects and vision of doing something big, then you can also go into branding. But all in all, in summary, branding does not really affect, or it's not the most important factor to be successful on Etsy, or it's not that big of a factor to determine whether you're going to be recording sales or not on Etsy. I mean, you could be someone who doesn't even care about brand, provided you know what people want, what the market wants, um, and you put it out there, people are going to come for it. Okay, so let me leave you with these three tips to Etsy success or success in general in anything you do, provided it's business. Okay, I learned this from Bob Proctor, and the first thing is ensure that there's a need for whatever you want to sell. Secondly, ensure that you have the ability to do that stuff, and thirdly, ensure that there's going to be a difficulty for you to be replaced. So in our case, ensure that whatever you want to sell on Etsy is going to be a bit difficult for whoever wants to recopy or whoever wants to recreate it on Etsy. Okay, so that's how you protect your business. And the next video I'm going to be making is I'm going to be talking about how many listings you need in order for you to experience success on Etsy. Do you need to have a lot of listings, or can you succeed with less than 50 listings? I'm going to be making that video. So if you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about this particular video. Give it a thumbs up. And subscribe like I earlier said. Peace and God bless.